Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us. My name is Tim Russell, Vice President, Community Engagement and Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion for WTTW and WFMT. And welcome to today's Chicago Tonight Voices, a WTTW News Community Conversation. WTTW is committed to producing and presenting trusted, best-in-class content fueled by distinctly Chicago sensibility. We have served as Chicago's window to the world, and our purpose is to enrich lives, engage communities, and inspire exploration. Today's Voices Community Conversation will focus on youth and civic engagement. As this presidential election year is in full swing and students are returning to school, this timely segment will spotlight the remarkable organizations driving meaningful change in students and youth involvement in local policy and political action. The generous support of donors, sponsors, and WTTW members and viewers like you make it possible for WTTW to bring provocative ideas to life, to tackle the issues that matter, and to expand our perspectives on the world in which we live. There's only one reason why this is possible, and that reason is you. Thank you for your support. Now, please welcome our host, Joanna Hernandez.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Chicago Tonight Voices, a WTTW News Community Conversation. Thank you for joining us. I'm Joanna Hernandez, the host of Chicago Tonight Latino Voices. As Tim mentioned, today's Voices Community Conversation will focus on youth and civic engagement. Civic engagement is a vital part of youth development that can help young people learn about their rights and responsibilities, build skills, and contribute to their communities. It can include a wide range of activities, such as political and non-political process, including environmentalism and community and national service. Our communities and our democracy became more just and equitable when all people, individually and collectively, get involved and take action. When all young people develop healthy civic habits, skills, and commitment, our democracy will prosper. We believe this will happen when more and more diverse young people have access to opportunities that build their skills and knowledge and that empower them to affect change. Decision-making becomes more representative and communities benefit. They have unique perspectives on local issues. They often bring new ideas to the table, and they can be an inexhaustible source of energy and passion for social change. Now let's start by introducing them. We have Sanaa Fedrick, a graduate from Morgan Park High School. Eddie Bautista, a senior at Lakeview High School. Kelly Fischer, Citywide Parade to the Pools and teacher at Vaughn Occupational High School. And Quonyel Shelton, intern at Carr Foundation and a senior at Columbia College, Chicago. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. If you can show up in your cameras, that would be great. There we go. Hello, everybody. There's a lot to talk about here. So I want to start off from hearing from all of you about how you describe this year's presidential race. Quonyel, can you start us off?
Absolutely. I would describe this year's presidential race as to be very unique. I would say a lot of people are looking forward to this year, just the different diverse candidates and just what is to come. There has been a couple of concerns been rising within the media aspect of just like life in general, maybe like losing certain benefits. Like there's a couple of concerns within that, but overall, everybody has been pretty excited to see what is to come and just having this opportunity to vote yet again.
Sanaa, what about you?
I agree. Like, I would say, like, it's very unique, especially since, like in 2016, it's like the same thing. We're having a female president run, or vice president run, and we're having a president before run. So I would say, like, it's unique. But, like, the issues that, like, are important to me in this election is mainly like Project 2025 and like having Trump as the president, because as you know, like he thinks he's above the law and he thinks like he can do whatever he wants. And like I'm hoping that we finally have our first female president.
Thank you for sharing. What about you, Eddie?
Yeah, I agree 100% with what they're saying. There's definitely a lot of factors with this year's election that are very new and thrilling. So that's something that's definitely different.
Kelly?
Yeah, I would agree as well. I mean, it is a exciting election, a lot of unprecedented events from, having the presumptive nominee drop out in late July to having Kamala Harris step in and just so much drama. And I feel like it's a series of anxiety producing moments and then sighs of reliefs. And yeah, we'll see what's next.
Anxiety is a good word. And Kelly, I want to continue with you. Can you talk to us about the Mikva Challenge program?
Yeah, so I have had the privilege of working with Mikva Challenge as a teacher here at Vaughn Occupational High School since 2008. And we have been working very closely together to schedule our Parade to the Polls event. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry.
It's okay. It happens. You're at a high school, so sometimes when there's no movement, the lights turn off.
I'm not in my office and space, but this is how it is. So yeah, so we've been working really hard to get our events going. This will be our third Parade to the Polls that we are organizing for youth with learning differences. And each event has involved more stakeholders, more community. I'm really, really excited to have the opportunity to work with Mikva on our Parade to the Polls events.
Thank you. And Quonyel, you're an activist and an intern at the Lewis Carr Foundation. Can you tell me about what you have learned there?
I have learned quite a lot, not just within media and just opportunities within the world, but also within myself. The Lewis Carr Foundation has provided multiple opportunities for me, such as this one, and just gave me an opportunity to share my voice with my community and others that look like me. It's been just quite an experience overall. I have loved every second of it. And just having, as you mentioned, this opportunity to discuss this year's presidential election. It's just, I believe I've made a great impact and I hope to continue to do so. And I just hope to push that agenda for people to get out and actually vote, because it wasn't really a priority or really a thought with most people in my generation. But I feel as though a lot of people are coming back on board and looking forward to finally vote.
What would you say was that you talked about priority? When was that moment for you where you kind of had a revelation where it's like, hey, I need to talk about, this more with my peers?
I believe it was a moment a little bit earlier this summer. I was speaking with a group of youth, and we were all getting together and we were laughing, and we were just talking about the presidential election. And I just started noticing how, like, kind of uninterested everyone was regarding what was going on. And then I started like educating them on different things that could affect us as a community and just as a whole. And I was just letting them know, like, this is really a time that we all need to get together and vote, and not voting is still a vote. So informing them of that has just changed everything, just really showing them what they could lose, what they could gain, and just the different opportunities within that. But I think just raising that concern and showcasing that was definitely what helped me push and helped me discover this is something that I am very interested in and something that I really want to have everybody get involved in to vote.
And something that matters. Eddie, you're a senior at Morgan Park High School. What would you say you've taken away from Mikva?
Definitely how much civic engagement matters and like how much change you can really make just by putting yourself out there. Like it's really important to make your voice heard, and the impact that that can have on yourself and just people around you in general is astronomical. And people just don't really seem to realize that sometimes, but it can definitely have an impact on your community.
And you are also a member of the Youth Organizing Academy, right? Can you tell me about what you do there?
So the Youth Organizing Academy was made up of 10 individuals. 9 of us are seniors now, and then one of us is in college and freshman at DePaul, I believe. And so what we mainly worked on was really just figuring out what our event was going to be at the end of the year, and we ended up choosing affordable housing. but we also had many other opportunities to work with other organizations such as One Northside, Palenque, and I also got the opportunity to meet Danny K. Davis. So overall, it was just like a really good networking experience and just team building community. Yeah.
And what sparked your interest, to join and, be more curious and raise your voice? I know sometimes that's not, the easiest thing to do.
It was definitely my brother, like seeing him be involved in the community. Like he has worked with Teresa Ma, which is a state representative now, and he took me to go canvas with her one day, and that was just like really eye-opening to see like how much of a difference I can make with the team behind my back, like, and just really help someone that I believe in. And like him just passing that down to me, since like he's a civil rights lawyer now as well, so just seeing him and what he's done like throughout the past couple of years really just sparked the interest in myself that I just didn't think that I had.
What would you say that the conversations have also been like with, your parents? I think, generationally, we in some way also teach our parents.
Can you elaborate on that? I'm sorry.
Like how has the conversations been like with your parents? Do you find, talking to them about voting, political process, have they been interested in your journey and your brother's journey?
Yeah, so they actually can't legally vote because they did immigrate from Mexico, but they have passed down to me, my brother, and my family just how important it is to like be active in our community because it, like I said before, it can really have a difference because since we are born here, we have privileges that they and other people just don't have in general. So just like really using the opportunities that we have to our advantage matters a lot.
That's really great. My parents also migrated from Mexico.
Mhm.
Sanaa, you are also a Mikva participant. Can you share what issues are important to you?
Like when it comes to the election,
Yes. You talked a
oh,
little bit about Project 2025 and having anxiety over it. What is it about Project 2025?
well, I would say like mostly since I'm a woman and I'm a female, like the whole issue about him taking away like birth control, contraceptives, like they already got rid of like abortion. I don't think it's fair for a man to tell women what to do with their body because it depends on your circumstance to where you have to get an abortion. Like if you were assaulted or you just don't have the type of environment or financial like background to like take care of the baby. So like how can you like maneuver around that is my like question.
Of course. And how would you say the program helped you use your voice to raise awareness?
I would say like the program helped me raise awareness because like at first I was like coming into the program, I was shy, but at the same time, like once I start growing out of my shell, I learned like it's important to get people to know things that you know and that they don't know. Like as for instance, like my role in SAC was to like help make recommendations about CPS and about changes within CPS. And a lot of people didn't know, like some of the students didn't really like the changes that were being made. So we had to adapt to them, which I felt like was not the right way to go about it because students should have a voice within CPS because we actually go to the schools. We're actually there every day. We actually work in the classrooms. We actually walk outside on the campus. So it's like for an adult to come in and try to make an um decision based on their knowledge and that they're like overpowering the student because they're an adult is not fair to me.
That's understandable. And Kelly, I want to go to you. You seem very passionate about teaching and involving the youth in political action. We mentioned that you're also a teacher at Vaughn. what do you want students who participate in programs like Mikva to walk away with?
This is a passion of mine. I think it's really heartening to hear from all of the young people from Mikva too. So I want my students to walk away with a sense of empowerment, a sense that their voice matters, that they have agency and power, and that they're what they want is valid, and it needs to be represented in our schools and in our community. So I want them to see that they have the power and the responsibility. I really liked what Quonyel, I believe, said about the not voting is also a vote. And I think when I've taken students who have been sort of on the fence about voting to events and they've had an opportunity to use their voice, they come away really feeling unexpectedly good about themselves. Like I hear things like, I feel fantastic, I feel wonderful, this is the best, when can we do this again? Where like going into it, it feels like, it doesn't matter, I don't matter. Coming away from this process and using your voice and having that chance to participate in government is huge. And not doing it is scary. It's a scary prospect.
Of course. And where would you say, like, your passion, came from?
I've been working in this field. I've been working in education since 2005. And I think for me, it's just witnessing a lot of those aha moments and seeing young people feel good, feel empowered, feel like, hey, this is mine and I have access. Because I think, in our world, which is not a just world, that sense of having access and agency is not given readily to young people. And they really have to come grab that. So all of those moments, every time I get an opportunity to be part of this process with young people, it inspires me more.
Awesome. And Quonyel, I want to go to you. I've asked everybody else, what issues are important to you? You mentioned that you're studying TV production at Columbia College, and so media, cinematography probably seems really important to you. Do you find yourself using the skills that you're learning as well, like social media platform, to also, raise awareness on things that are important to you?
Yes, I continuously use my social media platforms to raise awareness and just get people informed in general. I even just do outside of social media. If I see someone on the street, I just kind of approach them and talk to them if we're in the conversation, and just letting them know, because this is very important. And I feel as though a couple of people in our generation, as I mentioned before, doesn't really see the urgency or the importance of it.
Why do you think that's so? Do you
I
think they think that their voice doesn't matter, or just too much going on?
As everyone mentioned before, it is definitely a thing of your voice not being heard. And our generation as a whole, we push for our voice to be heard. That's why we use social media to do so, and just other things to do so. But I definitely think it is a voice thing, and not just us being heard, but everything that we put into action or that we request, we hope that it is put into place, not just talking about it, but actually something being done. That is mainly the thing within voting. I know a couple of my close friends also mentioned that. They're like, oh, I vote, but if I vote for this person, will this actually happen? Or is this just something we're talking about at the current moment? So I've just been trying to ensure that this is not something we're just talking about at the current moment. This is something that's actually happening, and that we are voting for a reason. So I'm definitely just passionate about it overall. And I just hope that everybody does get out and vote. And I know people are probably tired of me saying it, but I hope that they vote. So yeah.
Do you find yourself ever also talking about and educating people just about the process of just voting, not just, locally as well?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think people just have one narrow mind of what, you vote for a president and that's it, they make all the decisions? Do you find yourself talking to family or friends about how the political process works, or even locally, how voting works?
I believe I do, and I believe everybody has a pretty wide idea of what is to come and how it works. I believe it's just also, as I mentioned, some of the concerns brought up before, like such as women's rights and then healthcare opportunities, benefits. Like these are things that we all use on a regular basis, and having even the thought of that being taken away brings up quite a concern. So I think just communicating that to everybody and just having everybody's, as I mentioned, voice to be heard has been a big thing.
Eddie, what are your thoughts, about what Quonyel is saying?
Yeah, I 100% agree with that. And my past experiences also like working at a polling place and being a student judge really just showed me how easy it is to like really just make your voice heard, even to just register to vote at the polling place and vote that same day is a really easy process and not enough people do it, unfortunately.
Did you find yourself also, bringing in your friends and educating them? What has that been like?
I definitely try to, but sometimes people just get caught up with other things like school, work, and that just like isn't too much of a priority for people my age, especially.
But it's a priority for you, really, because of, like you mentioned, the inspiration of your brother.
Yeah, it definitely for is for me, but unfortunately, I still can't vote either since I am underage. So that is why I also like try to tell my peers to just register and just really make their voice heard.
Oh, absolutely. Sana, what are your thoughts? What would you say that you want people, to challenge or question when it comes to this election?
Um, I want people like to challenge or question like who really has your best interest at heart and like who's really going to do things for you because everyone looks at like the money that Trump may have gave during COVID and they may say, oh well he gave us stimulus checks or whatnot. Yeah, but at the same time we're not in COVID anymore. Everyone is back to work, everyone is still working. So I would say like look at who really is trying to support you and not take advantage of you.
And Kelly, same question for you. How do you advise, the young people as an adult, when it comes to like challenging or questioning, when it comes to the election? How do you go about that?
So as I just say do the research. There's a lot of fake news out there. You have to know why people are saying what they're saying. So do some perspective taking, check multiple sources. There are many resources to utilize to see where your source falls on the spectrum and get all sides of the story.
Eddie, same question for you. What do you want people? I know you said you can't vote yet, but you will one day. You will one day. What's one thing that you know you want people to challenge and question when it comes to this election?
Yeah, just making sure you really are voting for the right person and just really just doing your research because that ballot has a very big difference that it can make.
And Ken, you talked a little bit about Parade to the Polls. Can you tell me, elaborate a little bit more about what that is?
Yes, for sure. So as I mentioned, I'm a teacher at Vaughn Occupational High School. We are a high school dedicated to diverse learners. So this is our third Parade to the Polls event. We are gathering diverse learners from around the city of Chicago in conjunction with the Mayor's Office for Peoples with Disabilities, Mikva Challenge and Access Living to use their voice, make their needs and wants heard at the poll or at the election booth, and also just celebrate, really celebrate their right to vote, the togetherness, the connectedness of the community, and build this self-advocacy and civic engagement.
That's awesome.
Our Parade to the Polls is done during early voting, and we will be taking students there, helping them advocate for necessary accommodations in the polls, and then we'll end with a celebration event and pizza party.
I mean, the program has tons of different events, right? I mean, I saw even on YouTube there was different events that the Mikva Challenge has for students, correct?
Mikva Challenge has a curriculum. It's a national organization that promotes civic engagement in Chicago and around the country. And they have programs for teachers to utilize in the classroom. What Eddie's been speaking of, being election judges and working on the campaign trail for candidates. Those are programs that Mikva Challenge organizes with students directly and also with classroom teachers. And there's curricula that you can use within the classroom to build engagement, pick issues that you feel are impacting your community, and organize to make change and advocate for change with our representative leaders.
And someone did ask a question here I want to read. They said, does the program inform you all of the candidate's policies, or do they tell you what the candidate wants you to hear?
So I can field that one as well, because I get to see the teachers half of this. So we are given both. So we talk about how candidates promote themselves. We look at their messages. We talk about campaign ads and bias and media literacy. And then on the flip side, we talk about, what that candidate's record is, how they have performed in office, if they've been in the office before, and if they haven't been in office before, what do we know to justify their stance on the issue? And Mikva is very, very careful to research. They're a nonpartisan organization. They present all the information. The goal is that we are building youth advocacy, youth voice. We are helping people get to the polls so that they can make their voice heard, directing those voices in one direction or the other.
No, thank you. And Quonyel, I want to go to you. Now social media, you can find so much information, right? Someone saying this, someone saying that, a news outlet saying this. As a young person, how would you say you navigate that of what's real or what's fake news? For example, someone mentioned, that the 2025 policy, and Trump has stated that he has nothing to do with that policy, right? So how do you navigate that information and do research when someone's saying something and someone's saying something else?
It is, looking over social media is very overwhelming overall. But as everyone has mentioned, just fully diving in and doing your research is key to avoiding that. I know I've seen and heard a couple of victims who have seen a TikTok and I can't believe this is happening, and it was invalid information. So I just informed them as well, really doing that research and knowing what is truly going on. And yeah, it's just really just going off of that and just knowing where you get your information from, and not just taking that information and running with it, but fully processing it and reaching out to others, reaching out to others that personally, or even I will get on social media and reach out to somebody I don't even know and just hey, is this true? What's going on with this? So yeah, just really getting that communication and just reaching out and doing your research is definitely key versus just running with it.
Yeah, and you said something really interesting about being overwhelming. Sanaa, do you find yourself also, when you go on social media, looking through stuff, reading through news, becoming overwhelming?
Yeah, I'm Sanaa, by the way.
Sanaa, yes.
Yeah.
I'm trying really hard. Sorry, Sanaa.
It's okay. I would say, yeah, I'm not really on social media like that, because I feel like every time I go on social media, some bad news just pop up on the feed. So I just try to stay away from it, just to control my peace of mind, because that can really get to you, especially if you're on it all day, every day. But you have to break to actually think about what's going on, or take time for yourself to take a break from it. So yeah.
Do you believe the program has impacted the way that you see the political process?
I would say yeah. I was also an election judge. I loved like my experience, well, my first experience, because it was like seeing all the elderly people like come and vote, like made me feel like empowered because like they're like, as Quonyel said, our generation don't really take voting seriously because they always like think that their opinion isn't, I mean, their voice isn't heard. But I also believe if you want your voice to be heard, you have to vote and you have to um make sure that you're voting for the right person that, like I said, has your best interest at heart. Because if you keep complaining or you keep like wanting things to change and you're not really saying anything about it, or you're not voting, then how can someone like help you, or how can someone know the resources that you need?
That's a great answer. Question for you as well. Someone had asked, does the program give the students credible sites to search to check the information on social media puts out? If
Yeah.
so, what are some of the credible sites they could check?
Well, I would say we did a lot of research on like the CPS website because we were like making recommendations about like things we wanted to change. So I would say if you were talking about like researching the things about CPS, then you could go to the CPS website. But also you can maybe like just do any type of research. I don't know any specific website that you can look into.
Eddie, similar question to you. What has it been like, being on social media and trying to identify, what's real, what's fake? What is your process like?
Yeah, honestly, I try to stay off of social media as much as I can because
That's
it definitely.
interesting. That's interesting because I feel like your generation is all about social media.
Yeah, I'm definitely the odd one out sometimes. But yeah, I personally try to stay off, but if I do see something that catches my attention, I just do my best to like really just try to do my research on that topic, just ask questions to as many people as I can, and just try to inform myself and also check if it is a trustworthy source to make sure the information is credible. And I'm not just like believing something that is completely irrelevant as is like completely false.
Is there something that you can remember recently that you read and you felt was like, hold on, I need to do a little bit more research, or found that it was a bit bizarre?
Honestly, I really can't. It does nothing come to mind right now.
If any of you think of something, have any of you, it's a question for anyone, seen something recently in the news that you had to go and dive a little deeper and do some research on?
Can share like a story from an acquaintance of mine sent me a story that was in local news of migrants storming a Home Depot, which was totally fake news. I don't know what it was on because I'm also off social media. So we might all have that in common almost. But I encouraged her to follow a lot of the steps that I'm sure the Mikva alum studied in classes, like doing a reverse Google search on the story, checking alternate sites, checking if it's also, online to check the URL to see if it makes sense, make sure it's, a valid news source. And, she was able to quickly determine that it was a made up story and it wasn't reported elsewhere. And then we had a discussion about why somebody would make up that lie and what would motivate them. So I feel that those tools have, now that I say them, I'm sure a lot of people will find that they might remember kind of hearing some of those in classes that you can use to identify when news is fake.
I think about, I just thought about one where it came out, when former President Trump talked about people from Haiti and Ohio eating cats and dogs. I know, social media, there was multiple memes and jokes about it. You couldn't stay away. Quonyel, what was your reaction, when you first, we heard him say that, and then what transpired after that?
My reaction was just like how powerful social media truly is and how much it made an impact on the entire country just by that one little meme. I've seen it everywhere, all over the place. It's just really, it's really crazy to see how it has changed a lot of people's opinion just off of that one meme. Just seeing that and how impactful that was definitely something. I just believe just the power of social media is just insane how people have been using it. And I also believe like the memes sometimes can be seen as maybe a cover up of how our generation and just everyone feels. It could be like such as a concern. We're concerned in a sense, but we're just going to laugh and sit back and just wonder what is going to happen because we don't know. But just to be able to turn something into a meme to understand it in a different way is something. So I would say I love my generation overall, just how we do things. But it's definitely something to see how they changed the debate into such a meme to change people's perspectives to understand who they want to vote for. It's quite powerful.
Eddie, what are your thoughts on what she's saying?
Yeah, it's definitely a very powerful tool, whether it's used in a good way or a bad way. And the how fast the information just travels around the world is crazy, and the impact that it can like have on people. And like I said before, people just sometimes just blatantly believe something without any evidence to back that up, which is also very detrimental.
I know sometimes in, being Mexican in our culture, Facebook is a big drive. And sometimes I've seen my aunts show me an article from Facebook and, oh, I believe this, and it's totally fake. Have
Yeah,
you seen that happen, Eddie?
yeah, I definitely have with my mom, my dad. Yeah.
And I think it's I don't know if it's a generational thing or a migrant thing that I have to like, teach our parents like, hey, not everything you read on social media is real. Kelly, I want to go to you. What is some advice you want to share with the young adults right now?
In terms of in
You know,
terms
of our conversation, of what they should keep an eye on, and people who are curious maybe about learning more about civic engagement. What is some advice that you would want to give them?
So I would say don't be afraid to ask questions and talk to people that you trust, talk to multiple people that you trust. If you're thinking about voting or getting involved, just give it a try. I mean, I feel like a lot of young people that we've taken out to vote and to become more engaged in the process are nervous at first. It's something new. And when we do new things, it's scary. So, maybe bring a friend along, let other people know that you're feeling a little bit nervous about getting involved, and then just try it. If you don't like it, it's a right. It's not compulsory. You don't have to do it, but I think getting involved is critical. And if you are involved, then you also kind of have a right to complain in a way that people who aren't involved don't. So, we all have a lot to say. So thinking about being part of the solution, advocating for what is important to you.
Thank you. Yeah, and I want to hear final thoughts about just similar question what I asked Kelly, as three young people who, you clearly are very knowledgeable and all have a bright future ahead of you. What is some other advice that you would want to tell, the younger generation growing up about how important it is to be involved, even though that you can't vote? Quonyel, do you want to start?
Since I am able to vote, I believe I would just give the advice of do it because one, you have the rights, and two, this is just your opportunity, as we keep mentioning, this is your opportunity to be heard and just to really share your voice and your opinion within that vote. Also, just continue to encourage one another. I know there's just a lot going on within the earth and just everything overall. Just encouraging each other during this time and just making sure that everybody is uplifted, whether or not they decide to vote or not. Still encouraging them and just letting them know, like, this is something that is going to affect us in the end. This time next year, life may just be completely different, and that vote really does matter. But even though that may not be the case that they do vote, we still encourage them and just hope that everybody is uplifted and come together during this time. So I just hope that everybody is inspired, encouraged, and uplifted, and do eventually decide to come together so that we can see what is to come.
Thank you. Who wants to go next?
I can go. I would say, like, to the young people now, like what Quonyel was saying, like, exercise your right to vote, because there's people who can't vote, especially since they're like either immigrants or like they just can't vote for some reason. But I just feel like exercising your right to vote opens the door of so many great things. Like, you're sharing your opinion, and you're also like fighting for what you actually believe in. So I would say, like, never be scared to like share your opinion or your voice, and make sure you're doing your research on like who has your best interests.
Thank you for sharing that. Eddie?
Yeah, the advice that I would give out personally is the way I learn best is like just doing something hands on. So what I would say is just really just put yourself out there and just find out someone that you support their mission and just maybe try to work for them. Even if you can't vote, you can still campaign, whether it's on social media with the post or giving out flyers. Just really try to make your voice heard in any way that you can.
Well, thank you so much, Kelly. I like that you're doing the snap of the finger. Well, thank you guys for taking the time and joining us. We're out of time, but thank you. It was a very insightful and inspirational conversation. I can't wait to see what all of you guys have in store for yourselves. So thank you to all of our panelists, and thank you to our viewers for joining today's WTTW News Community Conversation. Feel free to submit any story ideas, topics, and issues to WTTW News needs to be covering at the email listed in the chat box. And if you enjoyed this conversation, please join us for Chicago Tonight Black Voices, which airs on Wednesdays at 5:30, and Chicago Tonight Latino Voices, which I host every Thursday at 5:30. Take care and have a great rest of your day. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.